My name is Jennifer Herman, and I'm the Executive Director of the Olympia Symphony. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. The program you are about to watch was pre-recorded, and some of the events you will hear about may be adversely affected by the recent measures put in place by Governor Inslee's office to keep us all safe and prevent further spread of COVID-19. Rather than edit out information about events that may or may not be canceled, we decided to keep them in so you can know what we're up to and you can dream with us. You can get the latest news about our programs on our website, which will be updated as we get more information. It seems fitting and a little sad that I'm wearing my Olympia Symphony 2020 Longest Intermission Ever t-shirt, which is, by the way, available on our website at the address below. Yes, we are on a pause, and it's for a little longer than we expected as we enter this holiday season. But with your support, we will be ready when the intermission is over. Again, thank you for being with us. I'd like to give a special thank you to Olympia Federal Savings, who faithfully and generously supports the arts, recognizes its essential role in our lives, and acknowledges how hard hit the performing arts have been during this pandemic. Enjoy the show.
We're better together, and your compassion inspires us and makes our hometown remarkable. At OlyFed, we contribute our resources to support efforts to ensure our neighbors are safe. Working with families, nonprofits, and small businesses, we provide advice and essential banking services. Our shared values will continue to guide us, and OlyFed will be here for you, just like we have since 1906. OlyFed, banking that's mutual. Member FDIC.
Thank you to Patrick Harvey and Randy Grosdick for that beautiful performance.
I'm Bill Twite, President of the Board.
And I'm Nancy Bean, Board Member and Chair of the Events Committee.
Welcome to the 2020 Olympia Symphony celebration of what we are up to behind the scenes.
We are talking to you from our home, the Washington Center for the Performing Arts Stage. But this year, the seats and the stage are empty. We miss the music and we miss you.
You, our audience and supporters, are our heroes. You've carried us through canceled concerts. You encouraged us with phone calls, emails, notes, and virtual hugs. And this year, many of you are our super subscribers.
You will be given a look at what the Olympia Symphony is doing during this pandemic, when we can't provide concerts that are such an important part of our lives. Tonight you will hear that we are still making music, enriching our community, educating our students, and reaching out to new audiences.
Tonight, you will also hear performances by our musicians and meet our music director finalists, and see what we are doing behind the scenes, how we've adapted in order to survive.
But first, we would like to say a special thank you to the Washington Center, Olympia Federal Savings, musicians, volunteers, and staff. Their teamwork, their willingness to adapt and create without a roadmap, and willingness to take risks and try something new is inspiring and gives us hope.
Here is how you can be on the team and help us face the challenges ahead of us. Throughout tonight, donate online at olympiasymphony.org/donate or call at 360-753-0074. Give local ends tomorrow, and with it, the opportunity to take advantage of their incentive fund, which stretches your donation. We also have a generous donor who will match donations up to $10,000.
Give local. All credit card fees will be covered by sponsors, and we thank you. Your receipt for the donation will come to you from Community Foundation of South Puget Sound, and you will be recognized on the Olympia Symphony donor list unless anonymous. For any donation, $100 and over, you will receive an Olympia Symphony face mask and the opportunity to listen in via Zoom for a discussion with the 4 music director finalists in December, who you will meet tonight.
In this time of COVID, we understand the importance of removing barriers. Because of that, we've chosen to make education and outreach free of charge to our community. But we can only do that because your funding powers these programs.
Now let's get to the evening program. We would love for you to engage in comments. We have musicians, staff, finalists ready to say hi. Share your photos with us on social media. We would love to see you. Use the hashtag #OSOCelebrates. And for making a donation of any size, you are invited to join us for a free Zoom social after the program. Look for the link in your email acknowledging your donation.
Thank you so much for joining us and for your generosity. The future of the arts depends on you. We know that your look behind the scenes tonight will leave you optimistic about the future of classical music and all of the arts in our community. Now, let me introduce our Executive Director, Jennifer Herman, who will be your MC for the night. Jennifer has worked tirelessly, creating new COVID-safe forums for engaging our musicians and audiences. We can't thank her for those efforts enough.
Thank you, Bill and Nancy. Tonight, we are celebrating the resilience of our musicians, the creativity of our team, and the loyalty of our donors. When live performances were suddenly canceled 8 months ago, we quickly adapted. With our community quarantined, we knew we had the ability to bring joy into their homes. We shared broadcasts of recently recorded OSO concerts. Our former music director, Hugh Edwards, shared weekly listening suggestions, and we spotlighted the musical and non-musical lives of our musicians as they taught young students remotely, composed music at home, performed interactive at-home concerts, and collaborated virtually with one another, sometimes with themselves. We quickly assembled a virtual orchestra and produced a video of Pomp and Circumstance to honor class of 2020 graduates. The video received national attention and was used for commencement ceremonies across the country. Our musicians recorded special occasion music for electronic musical telegrams, and to date, nearly 100 people have received gifts of music from friends and loved ones. Over the summer, we started showing up in cul-de-sacs, backyards, parks, and public spaces as we delivered live music in small ensembles for graduations, anniversaries, 4th of July, birthdays, and other celebrations. It was important for us to keep music alive in our community. And for me, it was important to find opportunities for our musicians to keep playing, to keep creating. Not only did we keep music in our community, we inspired similar efforts by orchestras across the country. Our music deliveries were featured on a radio broadcast in Austin, Texas, and the New York Philharmonic was inspired to deliver music in small ensembles after hearing of our plans. Your financial support during this time allowed us to persevere. Your gift tonight will keep us creating into the future. You'll hear more about our plans later. Next, you'll hear from Chris Barnes, board member and chair of our music director search committee.
Thanks, Jennifer. Hi, I'm Chris. You'll soon get a chance to meet our 4 finalists for the music director position. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about our search. We started in October of 2019 with the creation of a team that includes 4 board members, 6 orchestra representatives, and these are musicians who were elected by their peers in the orchestra, and 4 community members who were selected from an amazing pool of people who responded to our call for volunteers. By January 2020, we had 185 applicants from around the world. Over the next 5 months, we followed a rigorous process to narrow that field to 4 outstanding finalists. Each finalist will conduct an audition concert during the 2021-22 season, and you, our audience and community, will have a chance to share your feedback on those concert experiences. Our plan, our hope, is to make a final decision about the music director position in late spring 2022. At each stage of the process, we had to make tough choices and leave behind qualified and interesting candidates. I mention this because it speaks volumes about what the Olympia Symphony Orchestra has to offer. We are valued not just in the South Sound, but in the broader musical community. So many amazing people wanted a chance to be a part of the future of this organization. I also want to thank our search committee members. They put in an enormous amount of work, much of it during the pandemic, dealing with the professional and personal disruptions that we all have faced. They were committed to the task and made such an important contribution to the future of our orchestra. You too can make an important contribution to our future tonight with your donation. And now, to introduce our first finalist of the evening, here is Brian Geddes, principal bassoon, speaking with Adam Johnson. Adam is an internationally active conductor and educator who has been the resident conductor of both the Calgary Philharmonic Orchestra and the Montreal Symphony Orchestra. He is currently based in Montreal, Quebec.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, Brian. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, nice to talk to you.
Likewise.
So when you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be an eye doctor, which is a bit of an odd choice for a 6 or 7-year-old. So I think it shows more so my mother's influence early on in worrying about her son choosing a good career.
What ended up being your first job?
My first work was as a clerk in the public library, shelving books and signing out books.
If you hadn't gone into music, what profession do you think you probably would have ended up in?
I was kind of, in my early teens, I was torn between fighter pilot or priest.
What made you want to be a conductor?
The first time that I came upon a symphony orchestra, the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra came and did an outreach concert in my small town. And I had no idea up until that point that grown men and women could play an instrument for a living. And so that completely changed my world. And I got very interested in orchestras from that time on. That happened when I was about 16.
Who has inspired you? Maybe aside from that outreach concert. That was,
right. Well, I mean, honestly, the list is growing all the time. But Leonard Bernstein was a big influence, that he excelled as a conductor and a pianist and an educator and a composer, just an amazing and charismatic figure. Martha Argerich, certainly, an amazing musician. And closer to home, actually, Janik Nizitz again. When I came to Montreal as a student, he was just starting out as a young conductor of the local B orchestra. And I got to watch his career as he brought this orchestra to phenomenal heights. And he's now the music director of the Met, New York and Philadelphia Orchestra. And so it's neat to see a local guy go to these astronomical heights. But even beyond that, he's just such a fantastic human being. So he's somebody that's always inspired me in that regard.
What do you think has been your scariest moment on stage?
But I was on tour as a pianist, and it was a 21 concert tour over a number of weeks, and I was about the 3/4 mark, and we had several concerts in a row. And I was getting quite worn out. And unfortunately, the meal I'd had at a restaurant before the concert was a lot smaller than I anticipated it being. And we were kind of rushed. And I went on stage and had my first and only hypoglycemic attack on stage. And so while I'm playing, my muscles started seizing and pulling my wrists up, and my face was getting pulled. And all this is happening while I'm trying to play through the first half of this program. So that was pretty scary.
Are there any other instruments that you play?
Yeah, not currently, really. But I did play tuba in the university concert band. I played trombone through high school. I played drums in a high school jazz band for a while. And I've sung in some choirs as well. So I've had a lot of fun in music.
And what instrument do you wish you could play?
Well, again, going low, the double bass.
What do you think is your favorite treat after a concert?
Chocolate chip cookies, definitely. And I start before the end of the concert. Actually, I started intermission.
What do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, I have 3 little kids, 5 and under, so spare time is relative.
Yeah.
But when I can get away, certainly my favorite activity outside of the house is backcountry skiing.
What are you listening to that's not classical or orchestral right now?
Well, I do like electronic music, house music, and when I'm working on a project, I actually like to put on the soundtrack from the movie Tron because it's
really good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's got this energy and this drive and this and you can, there's these loops that have been created with certain ones on YouTube.
What's a side of you that the public doesn't get to see?
Well, at home with my family, I'm actually pretty funny and goofy with my kids. I like to, put underwear on our heads and things like that, which I haven't yet done in a concert, but we'll see. But I'm also fairly emotional. I'm a crier.
What sound or noise do you love?
My children's laughter, for sure.
And on the flip side of that, what sound do you hate?
Well, related to the kids thing, for anyone who has kids, when you're in another room and you can hear them playing, and then you hear that distinctive thud noise of somebody hitting the ground.
Yeah.
And then there's that silence where you wait to see how bad it is.
If you could possess a superpower, what would it be?
The ability to fly, for obvious reasons. I mean, it would make backcountry skiing a lot easier. Well, that's the personal reason. But in terms of also personal, but maybe more altruistic, being able to make people feel they are enough.
Is there a particular famous person that you'd love to meet?
I think it would be pretty interesting to meet Wim Hof. I don't know if you know who that is, the Iceman. Yeah. I mean, this guy, he's really, he's an eccentric and fascinating character, but he's really exploring the potential and the power of our mind and our bodies and the connection between them, and really proving some rather fascinating things.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
More of an early bird.
What's your favorite condiment?
Spicy mayonnaise, aioli. Yeah, in a burger.
In a burger, okay.
Yeah, it's like, ketchup is good, but aioli is just kind of another level.
Rolling Stones or Beatles?
Probably the Beatles. Yeah.
Do you like mechanical pencils or the old kind you have to sharpen and the
I am a mechanical pencil convert. So now when I'm score studying though, I do use I do have a whole set of sharpeners because I've got different sizes of pencils for when I'm analyzing music, because I need to be able to see different sizes. But
are you a coffee person or a tea person?
Kind of neither. I like hot water and lemon. It's delicious.
What's your favorite season?
Spring.
Do you prefer cats or dogs?
I would say hamster.
Hamster. Okay.
Kids have a hamster. This thing is freaking adorable. I mean, it's just...
Do you like the beach or the mountains?
Mountains.
Do you have any advice for the musical community while we continue through this kind of unprecedented pandemic situation that we're trying to navigate?
Well, of course, hang in there. And we are needed more than ever. And we've got to be creative about how we can serve people. There's a lot of isolation going on, a lot of loneliness, a lot of strong negative emotions, and music is really needed more than ever. And so, let's find ways to serve people, and also find ways to just kind of reset and rethink how we want to do things. I mean, in normal times, we're so busy and just running. And now we've got this big pause where we can really evaluate how we want to be when things come back. And so yeah, hang in there, and we're needed more than ever.
In the spring and summer, we enjoyed pivoting quickly, responding with projects that brought music into homes while keeping you and our musicians safe. As the reality of the prolonged pandemic became apparent, we started planning more long-term projects to fill the coming season and benefit the greater community. We reflected on the effects of the pandemic and the essential role the arts play in our mental, physical, and emotional health. We acknowledged that portions of our community are more isolated than others during this pandemic, those experiencing homelessness, students, and our higher risk retired population, and the increasing isolation we all experience as we stay home. We made a commitment to providing solace, healing, and hope through music. We made a commitment to service. In a typical season, we would be preparing for audiences to gather and come to us on the stage, this stage. This season, we are meeting people where they are. We have asked teachers, social service organizations, and fellow artistic partners about their needs. A spirit of collaboration is guiding our work. By joining forces with others, we are demonstrating the power of unity, support, and partnership in times of uncertainty and distress. We are partnering with our friends at Emerald City Music for 2 projects this season. The first is a series of joint small ensemble concerts specifically designed for and presented to those served by Drexel House, Interfaith Works, and Family Support Services. These interactive virtual concerts are providing hope and high-caliber musical entertainment for those in homeless and transitional shelters. Residents join the virtual performances in family groups, individually, or together, socially distanced, in communal facilities and interact with our musicians. We are grateful for the sponsorship of Olympic Dermatology and Laser Clinic for their support of these concerts. The second partnership with Emerald City Music is a groundbreaking composition workshop, which you will hear more about later. Olympia Symphony Chamber Ensembles will also continue to perform for our friends at Panorama. Many of Panorama's residents are faithful and loyal season ticket holders who enjoy both our subscription concerts and our more intimate chamber concerts on their campus. Although we cannot perform in person, we are delivering personalized, interactive musical experiences over a digital platform early in 2021. Our newest collaboration literally gets my blood flowing and my feet moving. In partnership with the City of Olympia, the Olympia Symphony will be providing digital musical experiences to accompany walks at 12 city parks. From forested trails at Priest Point, Watershed, and Mission Creek Nature Parks, to Priest Point Rose Gardens and Yashiro Japanese Gardens, to waterfront locations including West Bay Rotary Point and Percival Landing, to active areas at LBA and Yager Parks, to the Vista at Madison Scenic Park. Visitors will be invited to listen to recorded educational and interpretive introductions to Olympia Symphony concert recordings, artistically curated by our musicians to accompany the outdoor experience. This marriage of art and nature will enhance the already spectacular Pacific Northwest experience at our city parks and provide a new, socially distanced, healthy activity for our community. This is only the start. I have so much more to tell you about our education and outreach projects, but let's enjoy some music. We wanted to treat you to some performances by our musicians, and in planning out the safest way to record our musicians, we realized we have 3 married couples in the orchestra. We asked these couples if they would prepare some duets for you. The first duet is by the Harpers, James, who is our principal horn, and Laura, our principal oboe. Enjoy.
Thank you, Laura and James. Wonderful. Now to introduce our next finalist, we have Holly Reeves, Principal Cello, speaking with Zoe Zeniotti. Zoe's been a fellow of the Hart Institute of Women Conductors at the Dallas Opera since 2016. She is currently freelancing as a conductor while raising young twins and resides in Athens, Greece.
Hi, Zoe.
Hi, Holly.
I've been looking forward to this chance to get to know you a little better.
Thank you, Holly. Me too. I'm very, very happy we're here together now.
Same here. So first question, what did you want to be when you were little?
I wanted to be a ballet dancer. My grandmother was a ballerina, so that's what I always wanted to do.
And what was your first job?
I was, and I still am, a piano teacher. I started teaching when I was 14.
And if you hadn't gone into music, what profession would you have pursued?
I would have certainly gone for humanitarian work. Right now, I would probably be on a mission somewhere in Africa or India, helping children and people in need.
And what made you want to be a conductor?
It was a kind of coincidences, let's say, or la forza del destino, the force of destiny, because I didn't really choose it in a way. Things came very naturally after being a pianist and then a vocal accompanist and collaborative pianist and then into this. And it was between me and my mentor, actually, Thomas Sleeper, that all this happened. So it was a very fine line between choosing something and being chosen for something.
And who has inspired you?
Everyone I love, every single person. And I cannot just name some people. It's every person I love. They have all inspired me in very, very different ways.
What was your scariest moment on stage?
I was 6 months pregnant, twin pregnancy, which feels and looks like 14 months pregnant. And I was conducting, after a long concert, I was at the end of the symphony, and it was the coda of the Symphony in D minor by Frank. And at that point, I knew that the babies were not happy anymore. They wanted me to stop. So they had started pulling and pushing, and I had pain, and I could feel like everything inside not going well. And I thought, my God, I'm going into labor immediately after the concert. And it didn't happen, but really that was one of the scariest things. Yeah. And other than that, it was the fact that twice I had to go on and conduct ballet, full performances. It was the Nutcracker and Giselle without any rehearsal, which is not easy.
What instruments do you play?
The piano. I just play the piano very much, but just that.
And what instrument do you wish you could play?
The cello. I love the cello.
Me too. What's your favorite post-concert treat?
Well, it's just relaxing and like being with beloved ones and having intimate and cuddling moments and having nice food and relaxed times and, you know, being with the people I love.
Yeah. What do you do in your spare time?
When I have some, I run, I walk a lot, I train, I exercise a bit, I do yoga, I meditate a lot, and I read and I write.
What is something that you don't like to do?
Small talk. I can't do small talk.
What are you listening to right now that's not classical or orchestral?
Two things that just happened, like yesterday. The CD of a friend came out, and it's named Lethe, and it's a CD on medieval music of the Mediterranean, of the South Mediterranean in the like 12 to 14, 1500. So it's a very interesting music sound with a lot of improvisation. And the other thing is that it has just happened to be listening to some Indian sounds, Indian bells, and Indian mantras.
Mm. What's a side of you that the public doesn't see?
Being a mother.
Mm-hmm. And what sound or noise do you love?
I love absolute silence. I can be in void for a very, very long time. I just love being in silence, and I love all the nature sounds, but silence is my favorite.
Mm-hmm. How about a sound that you hate?
Obviously the opposite. So we're talking about city sounds and traffic and things like that.
Mm-hmm. If you could possess a superpower, what would it be and why?
I would love to be able to have a super healing power.
How about a famous person that you'd love to meet?
Right now, I would love to have a coffee with Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, and talk to her and just have a chat on how wonderfully she's handled COVID-19 and all the decisions she has taken.
Yes. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
I'm both. I can do both.
How about favorite condiment?
I love aniseed and cinnamon.
Rolling Stones or the Beatles?
Tom Waits.
Mechanical or number 2 pencil?
Number 7 pencil.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
About your favorite season?
I love the summer.
Cats or dogs?
Cats.
And beach or mountains?
I love both, but if I have to choose, it's the beach. I'm Greek, so it has to be the beach.
Yeah. And finally, do you have any advice for the musical community while we continue to navigate the worldwide pandemic?
Yes, as we have already done, a lot of patience and resilience, and keeping our energy, keep collecting energy, so that we can all burst out fiercely when we are out of this, and we will be. Music is as essential as sleep and food, and we need it, and we will be there for it.
I promised to tell you about our second collaboration with our friends at Emerald City Music. Together, we presented a groundbreaking 6-week, 12-session composition workshop for 50 4th and 5th grade students in Tumwater School District. Students at Peter G. Schmidt and Tumwater Hill Elementary Schools met twice weekly to create a new composition based on Woody Guthrie's Pastures of Plenty, a folk song written as part of a documentary project about the construction of the Grand Coulee Dam in the 1940s. The tune presented an opportunity to teach about the migrant workers that came from Mexico, China, Japan, and the Philippines to work in the Pacific Northwest.
It has been such a treat being part of this collaboration between Emerald City Music and the Olympia Symphony. And my one word that I think I've taken away from this so far is energy. From the first meeting of just collaborating with the adults, there was so much energy about this project and the excitement of of all the things that we were going to do to make this happen, and then seeing the kids on the first day and watching the chat blow up when they were hearing Claire and Brad play their instruments, and just how amazing that all is to hear things that they might not get to experience otherwise. So Marie Williams and I have so enjoyed having our kids be a part of this, and we can't wait for the final product.
It has been so wonderful to have something to look forward to with the kids, something to advertise and get excited with them about, and say, hey guys, we have our symphony project today, and just looking forward to the musicians that we were going to meet, and working to create the music together once we had those experiences with the musicians.
Through virtual workshops, students worked with Emerald City teaching artists Claire Bryant and Brad Balliet, both internationally acclaimed artists of Dakota, an affiliate ensemble of Carnegie Hall. They learned about instrument families and learned to use the composer's toolbox, manipulating elements of music such as range, dynamics, articulation, and tempo. They discovered how accompaniments and musical factors influence mood and style. Members of the Olympia Symphony demonstrated techniques specific to their instruments, sharing insider secrets about practice and performance, and revealing secret special effects unique to their instruments. Kate Jones, Mary Jensen, James Harper, and Randy Grostick provided interactive experiences for the kids on violin, flute, horn, and percussion. Students were eager to ask questions, including their favorite question, does your instrument have a name? They loved meeting Foster, Ferdinand, Penny, and Nigel Hornberry. Have you ever wondered if a horn player gets their hand stuck in their horn? Did you know the flute has a technique called the jet whistle? I didn't. The students organized into 4 teams: team strings, woodwinds, brass, and percussion. And each team created a variation on the Pastors of Plenty tune. Tomorrow, they will meet for the last time and finalize their musical decisions. Composer Brad Balliet will assemble the musical score, and parts will be given to 16 Olympia Symphony musicians just before Thanksgiving. Imagine being 10 years old and having your first composition played by a professional symphony. And as if this wasn't exciting enough, I had the honor of announcing to the kids at the end of October that their composition would receive its world premiere on the stage of Benaroya Hall in Seattle. Thanks to the generosity of the Seattle Symphony, 16 of our musicians, directed by Cameron May, will be recorded on the main stage of Benaroya Hall. The kids went nuts when I told them. The chat feature in their online classroom blew up with happy face emojis and OMGs. I can't tell you how exciting it was to surprise the kids. They have had so much taken away from them this year. Classrooms, recess, PE, lunch tables, group music making. And although they are learning to be patient and understanding, it was so fun to take something that is already exciting and make it even better, extravagantly better. To take a group of kids who are learning to make do with less and be prepared for disappointment and blow their expectations out of the water was fun. The kids will enjoy an exclusive pre-screening of their piece in mid-December. You will have 2 chances to see the performance. First on the Emerald City concert stream on December 20th, and next on our virtual holiday concert stream on December 22nd. More on that later. This workshop was provided completely free of charge for the students and the school district. We are grateful for the sponsorship of Commencement Bank and R.L. Ray Violin Shop and the in-kind support of Benaroya Hall. But your gift tonight will help us fully fund this program. Next, we have a performance by another married couple, Mary Beth Harrison on violin and Calvin Hettinger on cello.
Thank you so much, Mary Beth and Calvin. Now to introduce our next finalist, we have Mary Jensen, Principal Flute, speaking with Alexandra Ariache. Alexandra is music director of the Henderson Symphony and conductor of Night of the Proms. She is originally from Brazil, but currently lives in Henderson, Nevada.
Hi, Alexandra. I'm really excited to be here today to get to ask you some questions. So my first question for you is, what did you want to be when you were little?
I think I always wanted to be a performer. That was something that was always in my mind, either musician or, I don't know, actress, but everything involved performance or arts in general.
What was your first job?
I was singing in a choir in a city, but that was like a first gig ever, you know, like, oh, I'm paid to make music. That's great. And then another gig that it was very useful because paid for a lot of my singing lessons was a makeup artist.
If you hadn't gone into music, what would you think you would have pursued instead?
Probably culinary, because I think it's an art too. But also it's like what all my family is about. You know, my sister is a chef, my dad was a recipe developer. So my two grandmothers, great bakers. So I think definitely something related to culinary.
What made you want to be a conductor specifically?
I was supposed to be a composer, but then like by writing music, like the instruments were like being added, and then suddenly I had a chamber orchestra in front of me and they needed help. They needed to, you know, to have a guidance. And then that was what fascinated me. I always liked to be there with my friends and be there for my friends. And yeah, you know, and make music to life. So that fascinated me more than actually writing. So that's what I made the change.
Who inspires you?
Oh, Mary Alsop, of course.
Of course.
My idol. And I'm so lucky that I got the chance to work with her, you know, so it's really a dream that came true, was working with her, working with my idol. That Scariest. No, I don't think that it's only conductors, you know, but I think most women around, when they found her, like her story and what she went through in being a woman in leadership, I think that's very inspiring for lots of people.
Let's see, what instruments do you play? If you play it.
No, I started with piano. There it is, my little one. So yeah, I started with piano and then voice.
Are there any instruments that you wish you could play?
Sheng. Have you seen the Sheng, that Chinese instrument? Oh my gosh, it's fascinating. It's like a small organ. It's very, very cool.
What is your favorite post-concert treat? What do you like to grab after a concert?
Oh my God. Okay. I told you already I'm a foodie, but it depends. It depends on what I have the next day and which concert was it. If it's a regular concert and I have kind of like a day off or a morning off, the next day for me, it's like either a salad, because usually it ends and late and I try to be healthy. You know, I really try. Don't know if I get it, but I try. And a glass of wine. That's always like, I always go for a little glass of wine, but it depends. If I have the day off, then I can splurge a little bit more. And if it's after something like the proms, if it's a 3-hour show, so I will eat anything that's in front of me, like that, really.
What do you like to do in your spare time?
When I have spare time, I usually, I'd like to take like a me time, you know, so usually when I like go to the gym and, you know, I do laundry.
What is something that you don't like to do?
Oh, running. I hate running. I have to do, you know, because it's supposed to be good for you, but I hate it. If you ask me to run, I like walking, but if you ask me to run, I will not be happy. I have to do it, but I'm not going to be happy.
What are you listening to right now that's not classical or orchestral music?
My list will always have Queen for sure. I'm fascinated with Freddie Mercury since I'm a kid. But recently I am intrigued by Billie Eilish. I think people will not agree with me, but I think that she's very talented. And I'm very curious to see, and she's very young, and I'm very curious to see what her and her brother are going to do in the future for the pop industry. And there is also a Belgian artist called Tamino, like the magic flute Tamino, and he comes from an Egyptian family. So the sound that he brings to pop is very interesting, and his voice is very special. It's kind of like Jeff Buckley with Hozier mixed. It's very, very cool.
Let's see, what's a side of you that the public doesn't normally get to see?
Ooh, that I am an introvert.
What sound or noise do you love?
Oh my God, this was going to be so cliche, but I love the sound. Actually, it's a moment, like when you're about to go to a performance and then there is all that noise from the audience and the instruments playing, and then there is that moment of silence, and then you hear a neigh, and then you hear all the instruments coming. That's something that whenever I hear that, I feel home, or it's very comforting. It make me feel lucky and give me hope. Really, I love that sound.
Great. And a sound that you hate?
Oh my God. Now it has to be with food again. It's when when the knife and the fork hit the that gives me something on my tooth, like I hate it. No.
If you could possess a superpower, what would it be and why?
Don't we all have superpowers? Like all musicians, we do have the super. I do. No, seriously, I really think that we have the power to heal. I just would like that it will be more obvious to people, so we will not be in the backseat right now.
Who is a famous person that you'd like to meet?
Philip Glass. I love him. If he watches this, I want to meet you. I love your music. Anyway, that's.
Let's see. Would you consider yourself to be an early bird or a night owl?
Night owl for sure.
What is your favorite condiment?
Cinnamon.
Rolling Stones or Beatles?
I cannot choose. So I would say Queen.
Do you prefer the mechanical pencil or wooden number 2?
None of them. I actually have my pencil here right now. It's a German pencil and it's a 4B.
Coffee or tea?
Wine.
Let's see. What's your favorite season?
Spring.
Cats or dogs?
I love cats.
The beach or mountains?
I don't know. Maybe beach.
Do you have any advice for the musical community while we continue to navigate this pandemic?
At the moment that we are living now, it's very rough. And it makes me really worried that, I know I'm positive that we will pull through this, but makes me worried that arts in general are taking a backseat on that, because that's what, again, going back to the healing part, that's what help us to heal, and that was what pull us through so many pandemics and so many horrible things that happened in the human history. Music was always there, arts were always there. So I think that we should, I think my message for the community is do not give up on us. And if you have kids that learn, give them an instrument, to at least keep music at home, and we do have the possibilities of doing Zoom classes, and so let's keep doing that. Let's keep doing music nonstop as much as we can, because that's what's going to pull us through this crisis.
Education is one of the 3 pillars of our mission, which is to enrich, educate, and entertain. So I'd like to tell you about our other education support programs, in addition to the composition workshop I mentioned earlier. Can you believe there's more? We asked music teachers what we could do to help as they face the challenges of remote instruction. There's nothing quite like meeting a music educator over Zoom at the end of the summer, seeing the stress in their eyes as they prepare for a future of digital and hands-off band and orchestra, and saying, what can the Olympia Symphony do to help you? We identified 3 areas where we could provide direct support. The Olympia Symphony musicians are providing instructional videos for thousands of middle and high school band and orchestra students in 23 school districts in Thurston, Lewis, Mason, Grays Harbor, and Pacific County. Music teachers request specific instrumental techniques to address challenges faced by their students, and symphony musicians create masterclass videos to be assigned to the students. All teachers have access to the growing library of videos and can distribute to their students according to their individual pedagogical needs and development. It is such a rich opportunity for teachers to have a library of content to use in their classrooms, both now and in future years. These videos allow for instrument-specific instruction that may not typically be available in all areas and schools, and helps to provide equitable access for students from all socioeconomic backgrounds. We hope these videos will be used for many years as part of the curriculum in our school music programs. We are grateful to R.L. Ray Violin Shop for their support of this project. Did you know the Olympia Symphony's first concert was in 1947 at Olympia High School? Also, Olympia High School has been our most recent rehearsal facility. So we are very happy to provide support for Olympia High School's studio recording project for band and orchestra students in 9th through 12th grades. Students will learn the technical process of assembling individual music parts into a digitally mastered collaborative audio performance. The OSO is providing the master performance tracks for each instrumental part, from which the students will learn and record their own performances. Technical and performance nuances will be demonstrated by the OSO musicians under the guidance of Olympia High School directors Joe Divig and Eric Curley. 230 high school music students will receive this musical mentorship and gain direct vocational experience in a musical context. We are grateful for Columbia Bank's support of this project. Lastly, we will record video performance for middle school band and orchestra students so they can play virtual duets with professional musicians. Students will have the opportunity to perform side-by-side and cross-generational one-on-one musical collaborations. Imagine being a 7th grade student and playing a duet with a symphony musician who you will later see on stage when performances resume. Our Regents teachers are working so hard to teach remotely. My youngest child is in 9th grade. I've been working from home and I overhear his teachers performing heroic tasks over Zoom. As a former music educator myself, I could not imagine teaching kids to play instruments through a screen. I'm proud of the Olympia Symphony for providing resources and encouragement for teachers and enrichment for students. And these resources are free. Your gift tonight educates students. Your gift provides relief for teachers. Your gift keeps our musicians working. Speaking of musicians, we have another performance for you. Ed and Cheryl Phillips on the tuba and bassoon.
Thank you, Ed and Cheryl. To introduce our final finalist of the evening, we have Ashley Cook, Principal Clarinet, speaking with Kelly Kuo. Kelly is currently Artistic Director of Oregon Mozart Players in Eugene and lives in Cincinnati as an empty nester with his wife and their mini golden doodle puppy, Kiwi.
Hi, Kelly. It's so nice to see you. Let's get started with this interview.
Absolutely. I'm super psyched. Let's go.
Okay. First question is, what did you want to be when you were little?
Veterinarian until I observed the surgery.
And what was your first job?
It was very glamorous. I was cleaning a doctor's office when I was in junior high.
And how about this? If you hadn't gone into music, what profession would you have pursued?
Definitely aerospace engineering.
Oh, wow.
It's a little bit different.
So what made you want to be a conductor?
Honestly, it was playing piano for a lot of mediocre conductors.
So who has inspired you over the years?
Well, most recently, the recently departed Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Chadwick Boseman. As far as musically, I would say Carlos Kleiber and Vladimir Horowitz are on my idol list.
Okay, here's a good one. What was your scariest moment on stage?
That would definitely have to be my debut, which was La Traviata, because before my one and only orchestral performance, I only had one rehearsal. And before that rehearsal, I'd only stood in front of an entire orchestra for 45 minutes my entire life. So into the fire.
So what instruments do you play?
I got my music degrees in piano, but I started on violin when I was an adolescent, and I got into music school because of clarinet, actually. I also played alto sax in high school, bass drum in the college marching band, and a teeny bit of harp in 2 productions of Tosca and a performance of The Planets. So sort of a lot of different things.
What instrument do you wish you could play that you don't play?
I often get asked that question, and it's always the same answer, which is cello.
Mm-hmm. Me too. What is your favorite post-concert treat?
Definitely an adult beverage, which varies depending on the food. So it could be draft beer, a glass of red wine, a stiff cocktail. I'm good with all of those.
What do you like to do in your spare time?
Travel, hike, study languages. Love all of that.
What is something you don't like to do?
This may surprise people, but I don't like to watch horror movies. I actually, if I'm forced to do it, I have to spend most of the time with my fingers in my ears. My eyes open, but it's just the music that makes things even more scary for me.
So what are you listening to right now that's not classical or orchestral?
That would have to be whatever is on my wife's Spotify playlists. Sometimes it's the greatest hits of the 80s. I have to say I'm a big fan of those great pieces of music in that time period.
So what's a side of you that the public doesn't get to see?
Well, the pandemic turned me into a sort of an avid baker, though I'm not the cook that my wife is. I've done plum tart, peach spoon cakes, banana upside down cake, and I'm currently preparing a special chocolate cake for my wife's 50th birthday, which is soon approaching.
And what sound or noise do you love?
The voice of an amazing opera singer.
Mm-hmm. And how about what sound do you hate?
The voice of a bad opera singer.
Okay, Now I have a set of very serious questions.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep. Seat buckled, ready to go.
If you could possess a superpower, what would it be and why?
So many options, but I'm going to choose time travel.
And a famous person you'd love to meet?
Believe it or not, Yo-Yo Ma. We've never met, but in my earlier days, I would occasionally get mistaken for him on airplanes. I'd be like, Yo-Yo probably doesn't travel in economy.
Early bird or night owl?
Night owl turned early bird thanks to marriage and a dog.
Mm-hmm. Favorite condiment?
Ketchup, without question.
Rolling Stones or Beatles?
Beatles.
Mechanical or number 2 pencil?
Neither. I use 0.7 lead for writing and 4B lead for Scorsese.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, and black all the way.
Mm-hmm. Favorite season?
Autumn, without question, all the colors. I love it.
Cats or dogs?
Pretty easy for me. It's dogs. I've had 4 in my life and counting.
Doesn't like cats. Beach or mountains?
Mountains, although my wife would say beach, so we're perfectly suited to each other.
Okay, I think that concludes our serious questions.
Okay, great.
So do you have any advice for the musical community while we continue to navigate this pandemic?
I thought you said that was the end of the serious questions. Okay, I would say find something you love or love to do and nurture it, because that love will find its way into our music making and our enjoyment of music when we get to the other side of the pandemic.
Agreed.
I have one final exciting thing to tell you about. Are you ready? Do you remember last December when we presented our sing-along holiday concert right here on this stage? It was magical. It was a standing room only event. As guests filed out of the theater into the magic snowfall, all I heard was, please do this again next year. Please make this a tradition. Well, okay. Home for the Holidays will be back this year, but it will be at home for the holidays. Tune in on December 22nd for a free virtual holiday sing-along. We will only have 20 musicians on this stage instead of 65, with songs once again led by Jill Barnes and Nadine Bozeman. Gather your household, young and old, and sing along to traditional carols and holiday favorites. How it warms my heart to imagine the chorus of carols in neighborhoods around the South Sound and beyond. This year, you won't get turned away once the audience reaches 983 members. Although not holiday themed, we will be playing the recording of the student composition during the concert, and we will have a special post-concert Zoom after party with musical surprises. You won't want to miss it. Mark December 22nd on your calendars. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling hopeful. Music is alive. We may not be on this stage performing as a full symphony, but we are making sure we are ready to come back when it is safe to do so. And we're taking care of our community in the meantime. We have 4 fantastic music director finalists who can't wait to meet our musicians and you. We have students creating music, learning to play instruments, and creating performances. We have musicians that are stretching the bounds of creativity in a determined effort to reach more people with the healing, cohesive power of music. If you gave a donation tonight, thank you. And check your email. If you donated, you should have received an email with a Zoom link for an after party. Click that link right after this program ends so we can say hi and thank you in person. If you donated $100 or more, you will receive a separate email in a week with an invitation to a Zoom event with our finalists. Weren't they so fun? You'll also receive an OSO face mask in the mail. Remember, donations tonight are added to our Give Local fundraising total, which ends tomorrow. All funds are stretched through the incentive fund, making us eligible for up to $7,500 of additional funding. And also, thanks to the generosity of a donor, the first $10,000 donated tonight will be fully matched. Remember, donations tonight through tomorrow will receive receipts from the Community Foundation of South Puget Sound, but you will be acknowledged on Olympia Symphony donor lists unless you choose to remain anonymous. 100% of funds donated tonight come directly to the symphony and power the programs you learned about tonight. Now, back to Nancy and Bill for some closing thoughts, and I'll see you in a bit in the Zoom room.
You have supported us through difficult times. I hope that this opportunity to give you a look behind the scenes and a look at our future has given you a sense of the resilience and importance of classical music in these turbulent times and excitement about our future.
Well said, Nancy. Thank you, everyone. Phones will stay open. Join us in Zoom. The link is in the email. And stay safe, stay well, and keep up with us via email and Facebook.
And we can't wait until we can see you back in your seats here at the Washington Center, listening to our beloved Olympia Symphony Orchestra.
Thank you.
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 you.